Good Monday morning, everybody. It's Mark Hutchins, the Magic Man on the mic. It's The Dose. Welcome back. Hope you had a great weekend. Jereme Kleven here.
Yellow.
On the mic. Mr. Byron Filson. And back in the house, Mr. John Cheplak. Welcome back, brother. Good to have you.
So good, so good.
So good. So good, so good.
So good.
Welcome back, indeed.
Indeed, sir. Hey, quick plug for today, 1 o'clock, buyer broker class at the Scottsdale office, 1 o'clock. John Dyer's teaching that class. If you haven't done the buyer broker class, I actually strongly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. John's a great guy. I know, John Dyer, not John Cheplak. He's like, I'm teaching today, John. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You went to another mastermind.
Yeah. Do it. And you get 3 credit hours for it.
Wow.
So, all right, 1 o'clock today.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Completely changing everyone's outlook on the buyer broker. He delivers for sure. But
he does.
Sweetness.
Very good.
Mr. Cheplak in the house.
Boom.
Let's do it.
We were talking on Friday. We were talking teams, and we want to keep this thing going. This team talk for those out there, the team leaders, or maybe soon to be team leaders.
Which leads to that question I had on Friday.
Forge ahead, Mark.
Yeah, it leads to it. So when is a good time to start a team? I mean, as far as time frame from when they started as a licensee, maybe they're producing for 2 years, maybe it's just their first year. I don't really have the right answer for it either, so I want to see your take on that.
And I don't either. So next, it's the beauty of it is, and I'll stand in this space, and others have their own. It's an art more than it is of a science, because human beings are an art. And so, what you first have to look at is what is your risk tolerance, period, because it's going to take risk. I mean, maybe you have become so busy that you've got so much business and you just can't even function, and there's enough in reserves. Now we're getting into the personal stuff, but I think it's the process of, okay, here's where my business is, here's where my personal life is. What am I willing to risk? What is my risk tolerance? Because there is typically going to be a pause. Here's what I'd say: there better be a pause at some level in your business, because you can't just have people show up. If you're in the business of replacing yourself, you need to allow people to have an experience of you. So be ready for a level of pause, or be ready to bump up your hours in that transition too. I think that, so it's a measurement of what is my risk tolerance right now in my personal life, and what is the level of risk tolerance I'm willing to experience in my professional life, because some people under risk shut down. I mean, I'm sure you guys have agents that you lead that, they'll say, my goal is 5 million. You go, you've done 10 million a year for the last 10 years. Yes, but it's always better that I say, 5 instead of 10. They shoot low and they go high. So I think it's a matter of what are you comfortable with, but here's the problem. To grow, you have to get uncomfortable. So when you get to that level of discomfort, know you're going to take a risk. When you've got too many leads that are coming in, or you've got a situation where you are way bogged down into admin, you're uninspired, yet the trajectory of your business is good, then you start taking a look at closest to the dollar activities. Can I put someone in a silo that's, my worth as an agent's $200 an hour or $250 or whatever it may be based on the calculations of your production, and I can put someone in at $20 an hour. Do a time study. And then find out. That might be the eye opener to you. So then you can take your time study and go, whoa, I'm spending 20 to 30 hours a week in a $15 to $20 an hour capacity. Do that math, reverse engineer it. I think your risk tolerance would change dramatically.
So basically, there's no time frame. It's just a matter of when does that time come when you are, like you said, bogged down, uninspired to where something has to give.
And that time study. I think the time study is the best.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
How much time am I spending in $20 an hour a week? Now, what if I were spending, half of that time at $200, a day? Yep. Or whatever, or a week, or whatever it may be, just that simple calculation. Go, whoa!
And I love the time analysis too. And we had someone on recently that said that they do, once a year for an entire week, they just write down what they're doing every 15 minutes.
Yes,
just write down what you're doing, and that is very difficult. Number one. But very eye-opening, number two.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You start writing down exactly what you're talking about. You start writing down some low-level admin, activities over and over and over throughout your week. Well, that's a good sign right there.
Well, and
hopefully it's not 4 hours of Pinterest.
Right.
That sounds like an inside story.
I was going to say, is that how you're
you guys always just say Instagram for me.
Well, and here's one quick one for you guys too, because anyone that's listening to this that knows me or follows me or sees me, I mean, it's not. We all know each other pretty much with the social environment we're in. Yeah, but you can eat that because you're always in the gym because you do this. It's like people think I do death by cardio and I'm living like a meathead. Well, let me help you out, folks. I spend about 10 hours a week in the gym. That's a grand total of 6% of my life a week.
It's not. That doesn't sound a lot.
Nothing.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep. Minimal.
So when we really start measuring things.
Absolutely. Yeah. That time assessment is a huge tool, huge value. So once people make that leap, they decide they like pain.
Oh yes.
And they start to formulate their team. How I know that this is a challenge for just about every team leader on the planet. I don't care if you're a new team or if you're one of the some of the most elite teams out there. How do we get people on the team productive?
Good. And I'll share with you, this comes from working with the top brokerage firms in the U.S. and Canada. And this comes with working with the top teams. And it's the same in parallel. I have a agent right now that I'm coaching that closes 1,000 transactions a year. I have one that's on pace to do 700, and I have some that do less, that are in a coaching relationship with me. We're talking once a week. And the bottom line is this, ladies and gentlemen, you will never make a human being productive, period. Number 2, they will never do it the way that you do it. Number 3, just because they have all of the content, if you don't hold a context with them, they will go nowhere. And so tip number 1 is this, is own the fact that I don't care how amazing you are, you will never make someone productive. Number 2, this will differentiate you dramatically from, and I love brokers, and that's why I do what I do and I support them, but this will dramatically differentiate you probably from 95% of the brokerage firms, their leadership, and it will differentiate you probably from the same percentage or more of top teams. Can you tell me why someone shows up to do what they do? And I mean inside their heart. You got to move people from their head to their heart. When you can move people from their head, transactions and dollars, to their heart and connect it to what this is going to do for them, you'll be amazed at what that connectivity will do to increase their productivity, to create a level of business intimacy. And you can call it kumbaya all you want. Well, what I would say, and I'm going to come on a little bit strong, but you know something? My resume is, you can't argue with it. It's the truth. It's based on numbers. And I was able to take this mixture of science and art. You've got to get into the human experience. You got to get into people's hearts. You got to know what they want. And then based on what they want, create a condition where they can get that and tie those two together. You've got to understand that holding a context is critical. If you put you've got 20 people on your team and you put 10 of them in a room with me, I'm going to take 10 of them in a room for the next 90 days. You can have the other 10 for the next 90 days. You can train them all you want. You can use every single script, dialogue, lead generation, lead conversion, strategy, tactic, system that you want, every bit of them. But you cannot ask them what they're going to do or by when they're going to do it. Now let's go to my group. I cannot give them a strategy, a tactic, or a system. I cannot talk about any activity that relates to generating business or converting business. All I can do is ask each one of them, those 10, and go around the room and say, what are your 3 specific, measurable, actionable commitments that you are going to stand up, publicly declare to this group in a safe environment where there's no judgment, which means we observe and notice without judgment. That's true accountability. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check in. All I can do is check in every 7 days on what they did or didn't do and not answer a single strategy or tactic question. All you can do is make sure that they got what you taught them, but not talk about any measurement. What I get to do then is check in each week and take them through the 7 steps of accountability. I eliminate the term why, because when we use the term why in leading human beings, we shut them down. Why immediately puts a human being on defense. When a human being is on defense, we cannot get them to truth. And when people won't go to truth, they can't discover what's getting in the way. And when people don't discover what's getting in the way, they project and they don't produce. So then on top of it, I'm checking in. Guess which group is going to smoke the other group?
No doubt about it.
Period.
No doubt. No question.
And we see it time and time again. So there is the key to productivity. And ultimately, you're going to make bad hires and you're going to learn from it. But the final piece is you'll come to a point where you'll never fire a human being because human beings don't like showing up once a week amongst their peers, not judged, but observed and not delivering. And you can have a conversation. Yeah, if they're not winning.
Yep.
And have a conversation where you've got to discern as a leader is, okay, you know something? Don't judge where you're at because keep this in mind too. From big to small, what we're seeing is a 30% attrition rate. So if you've got a team of 20 people, you can count on losing 6 of them based on industry standards over the next 12 months. And it stands to reason because we see how many people come in and come out of the business. But if you keep dumping content on people, you're going to have a revolving door because there's no context. And what happens is you create stress because you're so confused they're not productive. Well, stress shuts a human being down. Tension causes creativity. Tension is similar to sports where you look at some of the most amazing accomplishments. How does Reggie Miller score 10, 11, or 12 points in the Garden, banging 3-pointers in 1 minute? If we do the math times 48 minutes, he should be averaging 480 points a game. But stay with me. This is a great illustration.
I love it.
The deadline creates a tension. The tension gets them to look at, am I committed? He's committed to winning. And so with that tension, the commitment to winning, what they do is they create a change in behavior before the deadline. That's how you get people productive on your team, no matter who it is or what their role is.
It's so very, very true. And they need to take ownership of it.
Period.
You know, they need to put out those commitments. And we actually did this with our team recently too. And this was all things that people, they committed to themselves and they took ownership of it themselves. And, the results spoke for themselves. You know, the people that did it, people that did the work, that got close to their commitments. Some people, we put out lofty expectations, or not expectations, but lofty goals. Mm-hmm. And the people that did the work or got close or achieved it, it's so weird how they were there in the meeting. And then the people
shocking news.
And the people that didn't, they don't even show up. It is what it is. Let's call it. Let's call it a spade a spade.
And I hope that people hear this. Take some self-reflection. The highest form of human emotional maturity is personal responsibility, and that's where growth is.
Love it.
Touché. So cool. All right, man. So let's end it here today. Again, don't forget today's class, 1 o'clock at the Scottsdale office. John Dyer, buyer broker. John, you're the man. Thank you very much. Coming in, always laying it down hard.
Here we go.
On Teams. Byron, we'll see you later.
Bye, Mark.
See ya.